Ride through the city like Brennan Schaub. I'm on a mission to get it all. Ride through the city like Brennan Schaub. If you ain't thick, please don't get involved.
And now, Brandon Thiccc Boy Schaub.
Yo, welcome to the Q&A. It's Sunday. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Let's jump right into the fan questions. If you're curious how you get your questions answered, if you're part of the live Big Brown Breakdown live chat, you can just answer there. I answer every Tuesday, Friday live for you guys. But if you're curious on how you get answered on Sunday, just submit it in the YouTube comments below. Put fan question, Chin Nick sees them, I answer them. Let's do it. We will knock these out right now. This is from the YouTube questions. CJ Varia 702. Fan question, Big B, what up? Big Chin, Nick. I love the story you shared about Kimbo thinking you were black at the Tough House. That was classic. Haven't seen him and known him in person. If he jumps into MMA in earlier life with the right trainers and regiment, do you think his success MMA fighter athlete would have been different? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Kimbo was a really good athlete. Kimbo was a beast of a football player. I think he was a running back, linebacker in Dade County. So he was an athlete, man. He just got started too late, but he had the right mentality. He could have gone really far, really far. Eddie Bucktails. What the F is Max doing going up to 170? Fighting Conor McGregor. I bet he would have went up to 185 to fight Conor. It's red panty night. So your fight Conor at 55, 70, 85, 205, it's Conor. But I doubt he'd go up there if it was anybody else. But yeah, it's Conor, man. That's why. The payday's going to be nutsos. The exposure, nutsos. SVN 1977. Fan question, is the UFC planning a card in Dublin for next April? Is that why Conor's second fight isn't till then? Maybe. There could be something to that. Maybe. But I think it's more of the UFC just prolonging it, so they can figure out what they got, you know? International Fight Week, let's see how he does against Max. If he's cooking, they're gonna negotiate. But I would assume if, he's a shell of himself and he doesn't look good, you'll see him fight before April. Big Mac 439, fan question. With how much jumping weight classes is a relatively new thing for champs to do, are there any fighters in history you could have seen being 3-division champs? If it were more common to move up or down, personally, I could see BJ, yes, I was just going to say that. BJ Penn having a chance to figure out a cut to 45 much earlier in his career, or if Conor moved up to 170 after Eddie Alvarez fight instead of getting distracted by boxing in his prime, getting his soul snatched by Khabib. What do you think those chances are, or is there anyone else in history you think could have had a chance at it? When you think about these cats, let me think. I mean, I think of guys like Robert Whittaker, the 170 in his prime. Remember, he did start off at 170, lost to Wonderboy Thompson. So they figured that out in his prime. You have Whittaker at 170. Obviously, he was champ at 85 and now at 205. But usually, the problem is people jumping. They usually leave because they have to, instead of wanting to. So your point with Conor doing it, yeah. Trying to think who else. A lot of the lighter weights could have done it back in the day, but the best example is BJ Penn, because remember, BJ even fought at light heavyweight. BJ's the best example. But back then, it wasn't as common as a thing. Guys do it now for money. That's why they're doing it. That's why it became such a hot thing. What else you got, Jen? Justin Rose-R7G. What happens when Max writes Conor off due to age or activity? I think Conor looks great. He knows that he needs to look good to set everything up after his contract is up. Agree. Love the show. Proud dad of 4 girls, so love all the dad talk. We need more men like you. Thanks, brother. 4 girls doing the damn thing. So you're assuming, you're predicting Conor's going to look great because he knows what's on the line, right? And I agree with you. I don't know if Max is going to overlook Conor because Conor McGregor. Yeah, I think it's going to be a better fight than people think. Win, lose, or draw, I think Conor makes himself proud. He knows what's on the line. Because if Conor goes in there and he's a shell, or he looks like Nate did on Netflix, the UFC's like, out. We're out. We're out. No, there's no negotiation. It also hurts his negotiation tactics when he becomes a free agent. So it'd be a nightmare for him, man. So I think he knows, like, this fight is the most important fight in order for his future to get paid. He has, and it doesn't mean, I'm not saying he has to win. He just has to look good, be competitive. So we want to see him fight more. So because the UFC, they're backing up the Brinks truck to get this guy in here for 2 fights. They're not going to continue to do that. Netflix MVP, they'll pay him a big bag, but not as much as if, let's say, he was 2-0 or at least 1-1, you know? So there's a lot on the line for Conor. There's more pressure on Conor by far than Max. Sam Lennon. Is there a curse on the welterweight belt? Leon Edwards lost to Belal, hasn't won a fight since. Belal lost to JDM, hasn't won a fight since. JDM lost to Islam, hasn't won a fight since. Could you see the same thing happen to Islam, especially with all the upsets lately? Islam's a different bird there, you know, because think about Leon, right? Leon's big thing was wrestlers. Fights Belal, loses a wrestler. Belal, he's a wrestler, but fancies himself a striker, fights a really good striker, loses to JDM. JDM, we thought he was more well-rounded. Turns out he's really bad on the ground, right? Like his jiu-jitsu doesn't really seem to work against Islam, so that's why he lost. So it's not that there's a curse, it's just that the division's really, really tough. Those guys are really, really good, and those contenders that are waiting for their shot are horrible matchups for the champs. Islam's a different ordeal because he's really good at everything. So we'll see. And if Ian were to beat Islam, I don't see Islam going on like a losing streak. He's too damn dominant, you know? And I don't see Ian like knocking him out. It's gonna be a close fight, a close decision win if Ian gets it done. So probably do a rematch, right? Especially because he's the pound for pound number 1 in the world, so you get an immediate rematch. So no, I don't see Islam going on this losing streak if he were to lose to Ian. Lewis Cypher 23. When Justin Gaethje beat Paddy Pimblett, the talk was about Paddy cutting too much weight, not being elite enough, and even Gaethje was criticizing despite winning. When Gaethje beat Ilia, Topuria, the native again shifted excuses that Topuria didn't take it seriously, was too small, didn't prepare properly. At what point do we stop making excuses for the loser and just accept Gaethje might simply be that good? And there's a reason he stayed at the top for so long. Agree. The guy's been top, 6 for how many fucking years? I think both are true. I think Paddy fought like an asshole against Justin Gaethje. Even though he's a bigger dude, he was able to absorb the punches, but just horrible game plan. But also, Gaethje beat the brakes off of him, right? And then when it comes to Ilia Topuria, awful game plan. Didn't respect Gaethje. Fucked around, found out, and found out the hard way. And the reason Paddy and Ilia found out is because Gaethje's really, really good. Really, really good. So yeah, I think both can be true. But at the end of the day, you gotta accept Justin Gaethje's damn good. Shut up 0915. Fan question. What do you think about Volk versus Justin for both of them old boys to go for double belts? Volkanovski versus Justin. It just doesn't make a ton of sense because Volk, there's not big names at 45 for him, but there's Mosarv there. You got Aljo there. You got some contenders. And at 55, we're just going to fuck off Arman. Arman Tsarukyan doesn't get a say. And then Ilia, pound for pound number 2 guy in the world, he just has to take this loss, So I think there's too much competition for those guys to fight. You're screwing over the division if you have them fight. You can't do it. I would love that fight, but you can't do it. Blas Chavez 6560. Fan question. Do you think Alex should come in around 230, especially against Gane, who isn't going to grapple him anyway? His advantage has always been speed, Why did he want to get so heavy? I think that cost him a fight. Couldn't agree more. I think when I saw him at 250, I'm like, what the hell is he doing? Because again, all right, now you're just a big plotting heavyweight. You're not special anymore. His special was being able to capitalize on making guys miss and connecting with that left hook and taking advantage of them being the slower fighter. And when you got to 253, all right, now you're a guy with good stand-up skills, but you're matching them power for power. You're matching them size for size, and that's not where your advantage is at. So I couldn't agree more. Hopefully he learns from that. Hopefully he comes in around 230, 235 max to beat these guys. Look at Hokit. He's not a big dude. Beating the shit out of these cats. Stipe, when he first started, wasn't a big dude. JDS wasn't a big dude. Cain Velasquez wasn't a big dude. I wasn't a big dude. Krokop wasn't a big dude. Fedor wasn't a big dude. Like, look at the guys who had success. They're not these massive, big guys. They're really not. Heather Lil Breezy 280. It's a lady. What's up, girl? Fan question. Do you think it's at all possible that the UFC is putting Conor's second fight in April in 2027 so he can fight Usman Nurmagomedov if he's in the UFC by then? No. We get a lot of questions about Conor and his second fight being in April. I literally just think they're throwing it so far out because A, they don't want him jumping ship, going to Netflix too soon. But B, they got to see what they don't know. None of us do. He's been off 5 years. Last time I saw him fight, his leg fell off. Hasn't won a fight in 7 years. The UFC is paying a shit ton of money, probably the most they've ever paid a fighter for one night without pay-per-view. Guarantees making more than Poton. Guarantees making more than Sugar Sean or Strickland or any of these, Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gott. He's making more than everybody. So the UFC is like, hey, this guy is really expensive. What if he sucks now? What if he's a shell of himself? So we're not gonna do anything. Let's see how he looks at International Fight Week, and then we'll figure it out there. Because that's insane. April 2027. That's it. Have we ever heard of them ever doing that? No. This is all by design. They're going, let's see what we got, and then we'll negotiate from there. That's what's going on. And I don't think and they sure as hell. Let's say he makes himself proud. Let's say he wins by decision against Max, or let's say he gets a knockout. There's no way they're using Conor's last fight on his contract to fight Usman Nurmagomedov. That's not happening. A guy who's not even in the UFC, they're not going to build him up. There's no way. Is that it? Great question, though, girl. Appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your Sunday. We are live, Big Brown Breakdown, tomorrow, Monday, on this very channel. And if you want to submit your questions, if you don't want to wait till to do it or become a member on Tuesdays, Fridays live chat, become a Big Brown Breakdown Club member. If you don't want to submit your questions there, which I answer all the questions every Tuesday, Friday, live for you guys. If you don't want to do that here, just submit in the comment section of this Q&A and say fan question. Nick Chin sees it. I answer them. That's it. Easy peasy, Japanesey. Love you guys. I'm Big Brown. Enjoy your weekend. See you tomorrow. I'm out.
When you're in a bind, you will find a new fight card to be broken down. And you can't fall asleep, 'cause he'll go balls deep on a card coming Saturday night. It's Big Brown, Big Brown, Big Brown Breakdown coming to your town. He's big and he's brown, the Big Brown Break.
Some of that was good.
Down.
Brendan Big Brown Schaub.
Yeah.